Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about the immune system. In this video you'll learn about some of the causes of disease as well as the way our body responds to disease with its non-specific defenses. So what causes disease? Before there were microscopes and advanced scientific technologies, people really didn't know what caused disease. They thought it came from vapors rising from the marshes, dead plants and animals, curses, evil spirits, all sorts of supernatural kinds of explanations. Today we know that the main cause of infectious disease is pathogens. We'll talk about that on the next slide. But there's also some other things that cause different types of diseases. Carcinogens like radiation can cause cancer. Toxins like arsenic can just cause immediate death. Heredity can cause a person to be born with a gene that will lead to a disease. There are also autoimmune disruptions where the body attacks itself in diseases like AIDS or type 1 diabetes. So infectious diseases are the diseases that we most commonly get, things like the cold and the flu. They're caused by pathogens, viruses, bacteria, fungi, protists, and parasites. On this slide you could see, for example, the strep bacteria that causes strep throat, Salmonella, which is a foodborne illness that can cause gastrointestinal distress. We also have the picture here of the staph infection, a very common virus. Now, these kinds of infectious diseases can range from the minor, things like your common strep throat or flu, to the much more dangerous things like smallpox, measles, mumps, and rubella. You might be thinking, well, there's lots of bacteria and viruses that live in our body all the time. What's the difference between those things and a pathogen? A pathogen is a virus or bacteria that specifically harms their host. It harms us by destroying cells, releasing poisons, blocking blood flow, or taking nutrients from the host. How are these infectious diseases spread? Well, you guys all know, I'm sure, how important it is to wash hands. And hand washing is so important because many infectious diseases can be spread through physical contact. They can also be spread by coughing, sneezing, exchanging body fluids, drinking contaminated water, or by coming in contact with animals that are infected. Those would be things like the bird flu. So how does our body fight against disease? Our body has the immune system whose job it is to differentiate between self and non-self and protect the body against disease. The body has some first-line defenses that are non-specific and then some specific defenses as well. Over here in this diagram, you see a picture of the parts of the immune system, and you'll notice that the immune system is all over the body. Our lymph nodes that you see are found in our neck, underneath our tongue, in our armpits, in your upper thigh. These produce lymph and white blood cells that help protect against disease. Our bone marrow also has roles in protecting against disease. It's really a system that's found throughout our body. The first types of defenses that our body has, though, are not even within the body. They're really outside the body. Our body first has some non-specific defenses. It just wants to make sure that any bad thing stays out of the body. If you would do an analogy to this, if you would imagine that a city first has a wall around it. The wall is really just to keep out any invaders, not anyone in particular, just anyone in general who doesn't belong within that city. So too, our body has physical and chemical barriers that are just there to generally keep out any invaders. And these non-specific defenses are things like our skin, mucus, tears, urine, the acids in our digestive system. Our body's first line of defense is the skin. And you'll notice that the words here go in kind of a diagonal, and that's on purpose. So first we have our skin. And our skin is just one big barrier that's there to keep out anything that doesn't belong inside our body. But we know that our skin also has openings, natural openings like our eyes, our mouth, our ears. And then also sometimes we'll have a break in our skin like a cut. And all of these openings could let in diseases. So let's say something gets into one of our openings, into our eyes or into our mouth. We then have saliva, mucus, and tears that can break down a bacteria. Saliva, mucus, and tears have an enzyme in them called lysozyme, and that enzyme breaks down the cell wall of a bacteria, harming it. Now, let's say a bacteria gets into our nose or our throat. Inside our nose and throat, we have cilia, and these are tiny little hairs that will either trap or kick out bacteria and dirt. And if we end up letting something into our digestive system, or we swallow a bacteria, some of our stomach secretions will also try to destroy it before it gets into our bloodstream. Now, let's say our first line of defense was not successful and a pathogen was able to enter our bloodstream. So we have 3 different types of responses in our second line of defense. There are inflammatory response, interferons, and fever. So say you break your skin, and what you see here in this picture is like, I don't know, a splinter or something getting into the skin, or just say somehow a general pathogen gets into your body. The first thing your body's going to try to do is the inflammatory response. Now, when you think of inflammation, you think of something red, maybe a little bit hot to the touch, swollen, and that is inflamed because of the inflammatory response. So when you have a damaged cell or when you have a pathogen or bacteria in your body, that will cause your tissue to release histamines. Histamines are something in your body that will cause an increased blood flow to the damaged area of your body. As the increased blood flows, and you can see that in the bottom of this image, your capillaries will start to leak. And what will leak out of these tiny blood cells? Platelets as well as white blood cells. The phagocytic white blood cells will eat the bacteria or virus that's entering your body, and the platelets will cause your blood that's flowing to clot. So you'll get a scab, you might get some pus, and all of that is a way of your body trying to attack whatever's invading it. Another type of non-specific defense are interferons and fever. Interferon is a molecule that literally just interferes with the reproduction of viruses. And fever, we know that a lot of times when we have a virus, we develop a fever. Fever is actually a way for our body to fight disease. Increased body temperature stops or slows down the growth of some pathogens, and higher body temperature may speed up parts of the immune response. So that takes us to the end of the video, and let's just review the main points that we covered. We know that disease is caused, or infectious disease is caused by pathogens. Our body tries to keep out pathogens with non-specific responses like our skin, our mucus, our tears. And we also know that once pathogens enter our body, our inflammatory response will try to just kill any invading bacteria with white blood cells. And we also know that interferons and fever will help out our body in fighting off disease. Next time we'll talk about the specific way that our body attacks viruses.